The events that I'm about to relay to you happened to me during the summer just gone, in 2017. My mum and dad had gone on holiday to Spain just before the summer holidays kicked in. Because of this, I had to stay behind because I still had 2 exams to sit before summer. I didn't mind. The hot climate of Spain wasn't something I really agreed with, and I was happy to have our house to myself for the next 3 weeks, 2 of which would be after my final exam, so I could really have a chill time. I lived about a 2 hours drive from London in a small town further north. Our street isn't secluded, but it's quiet. A row of 6 detached homes and an empty field for miles opposite. The events that I'm about to share happened on and off for the entire 3 weeks that my parents were away, as if the culprit somehow knew. I'm going to explain everything to you that I can remember, even the little things that I didn't think about until after the incidents, but that I believe may have had some kind of connection. One of the first things that I remember happening was on the 2nd or 3rd night. I was going to bed after studying at about 2 AM, maybe a bit earlier, and went over to my window to close my curtains. Just by chance, I glanced out of my window and happened upon a man stood in the field opposite my house. He appeared to be looking at me too. I stood for a brief moment watching him before closing the curtains and reasoning that there was a solid explanation for the man being there, despite the time, and despite the fact the field across from me wasn't actually owned by anyone and was currently up for sale. I forgot about the man, focusing more on my upcoming final exam on the Thursday, and went to bed. I never saw the man in the field again, except for about 4 days before my parents were due home. By this point, the other things had been happening that had put me on edge, but again, I happened to glance out of my window in a similar manner to my first encounter with this mysterious gent, when I this time saw a jeep sat in the field with no lights on and, as far as I could tell, the engine dead. I stood looking a bit longer than the last time, trying to suss out what this jeep was doing parked where it was. It was one of those small hatchback jeeps that almost look cute for a car. And I kept looking when all of a sudden the lights burst on, spilling white across the field, and the jeep just drove away. So the things that occurred in between these 2 incidents were a bit more personal. It started around day 5 when I was in bed watching a video on my phone. It could have been happening for 15 minutes or so before I noticed, but I paused my video and could hear a very light and soft thud. I took off my headphones and opened my bedroom door. It was coming from downstairs. I crept down the stairs in the dark and headed towards our front window, which was still being tapped. I cautiously crossed over to the wall next to the window and tried craning my head to see through the gap in the curtains. I couldn't make anything out. I reached out a shaking hand gingerly and pulled the curtains apart rapidly. The tapping stopped immediately and no one was there. Nobody could have moved that fast. I am 100% sure it would be physically impossible to have hidden from me. And I was absolutely creeped and legged it back upstairs, a chill rushing down my back. It sounded like a knuckle on the glass. It didn't sound like someone had thrown something. The force was too consistent. This continued well into the 2nd week and I started to become more annoyed than scared. I had finished my last year of college and was excited for university. I wanted some time to just chill and relax, and I couldn't because of this phantom tapping. I could be sat in my room at 10 PM or have come home at 4 AM after a night out, as it was growing light outside and this prankster knew when I was in and when to tap. I never caught them in the act or saw anything suspicious. I didn't tell any of my friends or my parents when I spoke to them over the phone, but I did bring it up with the neighbours, saying someone had kept playing knock-a-door-run at my house, not giving too much away or revealing how creeped out I actually was. The 3 neighbours I spoke to, they all said nothing similar had happened to them. Things got a lot weirder during the latter half of the 2nd week and the 3rd week. The assailant was obviously annoyed that I wasn't reacting as viciously as they thought, and the tapping soon switched to my bedroom window. Now, just in case you didn't know, my bedroom was on the 1st floor. I had no balcony, I wasn't above a garage or anything, and there was no way any person could get a footing on the straight facade of my house. I would fling the curtains back whilst I was still hearing the taps for them to stop almost instantly, and for the whole view of my garden and my street to be void of any life. 3 things strike me as strange about this whole situation. The first, the strange man in the field. The second, the fact that it changed window so unnaturally, which leads me to believe that it was a human and definitely not Mother Nature. And thirdly, that the tapping started a couple of days after my parents left for Spain and stopped a couple of days before they returned. I never told my parents. I never told any of my friends. The only reason I've decided to share it here is because I'm looking for answers. As I said at the start of this post, I live 2 hours north of London. I now attend university in South London, so roughly 2.5 hours, maybe 3 on a bad day, away from my parents' home. I started in September and this happened in early December, just before we broke up for Christmas. Now, my digs are on the 10th floor, and for about a week before we broke up, I'd wake up to hear light tapping on my window. Again, I have no balcony. Again, I'd swipe the curtains back to see nothing and no sign of anyone, yet this tapping was exactly the same, which leads me to believe whoever, or whatever was tapping whilst my parents were away, has followed me 3 hours south and is torturing me at university. Has anyone else had any similar experiences? Have you caught the culprit? Do you know how to make them stop? Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated right now. Hey guys, Brothers Jackson here. I really hope you enjoyed that story. This story has been one of my favourites to narrate in a while. The first time I read it, it really creeped me out. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Next week's video is 3 true scary attacked stories. It's 3 stories of people being attacked whilst out and about. The week after that, hopefully, will be the big video, which is 14 true scary extraterrestrial stories. That was going to be out this next week, but I've not managed to finish it just yet. It's quite a long video and it's going to take a while to upload on my internet connection. But that is coming up. As I say, I've also got a collaboration coming up, and an update video that I will upload this coming week. So this will be between this video and next week's video. So thanks very much for listening, guys. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more. Hit that bell notification to be notified when I upload. And thanks for your support.